Hi, welcome back to Business Studies for AS and A levels. Today we are going to look at Dulip and his story about starting his business here. Alright, the source of this material is from the International Cambridge textbook by Peter Stimson. For some of you, you may have read about his story on Dulip for a number of times. Now, I use this material because I find it really useful to apply the application of employed versus self-employed. Alright, basically to understand what an employed person would do and a self-employed or a business person or an owner of a business would do, as similar to how Dulip is going to explain to you in his story. So now let's move on to the next part of the slide where there we go. Here we talk about Dulip and how he starts his business. Now I will go through line by line with you as I always do in class, because I think with the case study material, students need to understand or need to be able to follow the story in order to answer the questions. If you have seen the papers on AS and A levels, you would realize that there would be a section on case study format, or a case study format is basically a short, not really a short, but basically a text. Alright, similar to the one that you see in the screen right now about Dulip, and of course there will be questions that follow in the exam or in your study materials. But for today, let's look at the story first before we look at the next slide that talks on the questions. Now, let's do this together. So Dulip lives in a large country, alright, with many natural resources such as coal and timber, and he plans to start a business, alright, growing and cutting trees to sell as timber. He wants to buy a forest from a farmer and cut down a fixed number of trees each year. As Dulip is concerned about the environment of his country, he plans to plant 2 new trees for each one he cuts down. He's been planning this business venture for some time. He has visited a bank to arrange a loan. Then he's contacted suppliers of saws and other equipment to check on prices. He also visited several furniture companies to see if they would be interested in buying wood from the forest. In fact, he did a great deal of planning before he was able to start his business. Dulip is prepared to take risk and will invest his own savings as well as using the bank loan to set up a business. He plans to employ 3 workers to help him to start with. If the business is a success, then he will also try to sell some of the timber abroad. He knows that timber prices are high in some foreign markets. After several months, let me highlight this as well, of planning, he was able to purchase the forest. Right, so reading about Dulip, and you would have noticed I have highlighted a few areas. In fact, there's more areas that I could highlight, but just to emphasize on being self-employed versus employed and the differences, you would see that if you were choosing to start your own business, similar to how Dulip is planning to do, there are various elements to consider, or various things you need to do in planning, right? And all of it involves planning. For example, he needs to actually check on how he's going to get funds, right? So he has to go to the bank to arrange for a loan. He has to check with vendors or suppliers before he could even purchase the forest, because he needs to know how much it would cost him to buy saws and other equipments, and these are very heavy, expensive materials, right? And besides that, he also looked at several furniture companies, right, to see if they will be interested in buying wood from the forest, which means not only does he has a plan to start a business, he's also looking at whether there will be a demand for it, all right, or whether people would actually buy from him. So he has done some research, checking with potential customers, right? And not only that, the most important thing for anyone before they decide to actually let go of their job or to start a business is whether or not they're willing to take risk, as how I've highlighted in this text as well. Using your own money to start your business, right? Taking bank loans, right? Making sure that you have enough to employ people to help you with your business, because in the case of Dulip and a large forest to manage, he definitely needs people. And there is a portion of whether if the business is a success, then he would be able to sell the timber abroad. So it is a very highly risky business that we're talking about, and how Dulip is going through with it. Now let's move on to some questions just to see, or for you to actually practice on your own, so that you have a better understanding about our short class today. Now the first question that I have prepared here for you is, why, in your opinion, would Dulip choose to run his own business rather than working for another firm or another employer? So basically, you've got to list out, right, why you think he would want to go through all that hassle rather than just working on a daily basis, 9 to 5, without no pressure, getting a stable income. So why you think he would rather do that? You can list your points in bullet format and short brief answers. Right now, for the second question, would you prefer to be your own boss or to work for someone else? Now this question is actually dedicated to you, because it's asking your preference on whether you would want to work for someone or whether you would, well, want to work for yourself. And of course, it's not just about answering yes or no, or yes, I would want to be my own boss, or no, I would want to work for someone else, but why as well. Why would you choose that? So consider that portion in your answer as well. Now, that's pretty much our coverage for today, and I've been talking for about 6 minutes plus, and that has exceeded our 5 minutes lecture. In any case, as usual, please visit my blog for more information, or just in case you prefer to read rather than watch this video. Thank you.